better. And honestly, I feel like both these players do such different things for their teams that it's just depending on draft and how you want to play around them that's going to be the deciding factor. But we'll talk about that a little bit more once we get into game. We are going to see the Zeri and the Gangplank banned away. This time, though, the Zeri has to be banned by BLG, and now we're starting to see some of those mid-lane, more targeted bans coming out here for Rare Adam.
Yeah, and, you know, we've seen that flip around. Obviously, one thing to mention from the previous draft, we saw, like, BLG banning Jax. We saw, obviously, already ban the GP again, but it feels like you don't have as much freedom now that you're on the red side. They are actually going to ban the Jax again, so you're going to end up leaving some power picks open. Zeri, obviously, is something that you just kind of have to pay your dues and ban that one away. But I remember BLG banned Wukong on blue side last time. Could see that coming out again as a red side ban.
Yeah, we'll see what they want to try and work towards here. Rare Adam have got the luxury, shall we say, of knowing where and when they want to try and ban things. They actually go with the Aurelia. So, basically saying, look, we don't want to give something Bin can carry on if he gets the counter pick, something he can take over the game, which we have seen Bin do so far this split. And this is going to be another kind of lay down towards those top laners, Cube versus Bin. It is still a pretty decent matchup, but the way it's going right now, it does feel like their options are limited in terms of carry potential.
Yeah, and we'll see what if BLG end up going for that Wukong again on this third ban. They're going to go for the Gnar. I think the Aurelia telegraphs it a bit too heavily, so I like that, though. If you're on blue side, this is why this side is so strong at the moment. Like, you can ban Aurelia, it forces BLG to ban the Gnar. That leaves, like, the Calista open. And now for BLG, will they take the Wukong themselves? Will they just go for the Lee Sin again? What they've kind of been leaning on. Will they go Aphelios Renata? Aphelios Renata is a really strong lane into Calista specifically. It's kind of something we've seen as a counter. That would make sense to me. I think you can't leave the Renata open for to pair up with the Calista, but you could also pick up something like the Gwen right now. A lot of these top lane answers for the Gwen have been taken away. Bin obviously winning MSI on that Gwen
exclusively.
Yeah, and I feel like here you could just take the Renata because you can pick your AD carry on 3. It does leave the jungle priority a little bit lower, but it does mean you can go like Renata, Aphelios. I think if you leave the Renata open here, RA are taking it for sure, so
yeah. Well, it can work if you pick up the Senna right now. Arguably, you could put Rare Adam into a position where maybe they ban it away, but yeah, you're kind of, it's a weird drafting priority. I think because of the way you pick up the top laner so early, you are just kind of leaving yourself in a little bit of a hole coming into that third pick. But for the side of BLG, they're happy to say, look, we don't think that Crisp on the Tahm Kench was a bad thing. We think that, you know, we can still make this one work. And for Rare Adam, they're going to go with the Renata themselves. So they actually get the very powerful combination of the Renata Calista, which is going to have huge mid-game spikes. And Strife back on the Corki just said, look, guys, I was half health and Ryze in that last game with one rocket. I can do it again.
I just hate the Tom pick here because, like, you know, the only reason you're picking the Tom is because you're going to go Senna Tom, right? You've telegraphed that, but also, like, at least with Senna, there's some flexibility. You're not really going to play Tom. I mean, I guess you could play Jinx in theory, but I feel like you just get blasted in lane. And now RA picked the Corki, so how are you going to respond? Because you can't respond to everything. Yeah, it's a no-brainer. They know you're picking the Senna, so by picking the Corki, they know that you can't answer it. And I guarantee that second rotation, RA are going to ban out things like the Victor, like the Azir, and limit what Icon has to offer into it. Yeah, so I'm not the biggest fan of how BLG have approached this draft. I do think the Gwen is still something that's going to be a bit of a threat, a bit of a problem. There aren't too many answers to that. You can see the Kayle, some more from the pool being thin, but for RA, just ban mid lane. You could ban junglers, I guess, but I think for sure take the Victor out of the pool.
Yeah, take away the Victor, take away the Azir. Honestly, I think the Victor and Azir are the two things you just need to take away. And then, like, what can you really go for? Maybe the Orianna, which has not really been seeing any play as such. We did see it yesterday in the LEC. I do believe it was, I think it was Rogue who ended up playing it, but I'm not quite entirely sure about that one there. But we will see, actually, though, the Talia coming in. So this is kind of leaning back into what we were talking about earlier, about these big three that we haven't really seen most of the, you know, the lower end teams lean towards. The Talia, the Sylas, and the Lissandra are you know, those three things are still left on the board. And for someone like Icon, I think the Lissandra mightn't be a terrible pickup, but it does leave your damage in it lacking a little bit, or very heavily reliant on thing like the Gwen.
Well, we have 6 top lane bans now. So, like, they are really setting up this Gwen to try and be as much of a problem as possible. That is my one question. Is what Cube is going to pick into
Nasus.
The Gwen in this situation. Nasus would be a pretty legendary pick, I'm not going to lie.
It would be so baller. It wouldn't be good, but it would be so baller to turn around and be like Nasus. But they actually leave the last ban towards RA. Going to be that Viego. So Honestly, the Lee Sin or the Xin Zhao would be the two things I think about here. Maybe even the Wukong and the Volibear. You actually have a lot of options here available to you. So BLG will get whatever one they want, and then you get counter here for Lian.
Yeah, obviously Wukong nerfs a bit lower priority. We obviously still see him banned like first rotation a lot, but I guess that's why RA are banning the Viego. Still weird to see Wukong picked so late with the bans coming through. And now the question is going to be what RA will take. I expect Lee Sin just makes the most sense, or Xin Zhao is also something you could possibly take. I actually feel like if BLG had taken the Xin Zhao, they would have had that, double AoE disruption that would have been powerful. But obviously, we'll just go over to RA. So now they have to pick up their top laner, see what they have as an answer to Gwen, what they feel comfortable taking into this matchup, and what Cube can do. His pool has really been thin. Jace is that old school counter. Back when Gwen was originally on the scene, Jace was something that really looked to punish her. And I will say, that is some devastating poke if they do lock that in.
Yeah, if that gets locked in, like, how do you approach any of these objectives? But not going to be going for it. Go with the Gragas anyway. It still has a decent amount of kill potential and poke, but like you said, is going to be a little bit more mitigated. But on the other side of it, you do have a little bit of extra engage. I think you needed that as well on the side of RA. I think the big thing you were missing there was kind of someone to go in with the Xin Zhao to try and combo up with him. So you have a little bit extra set up there with the explosive cast and, of course, the belly bop as well. So we'll see what they want to side of BLG want to go for. Honestly, the Azir for Icon might not be a bad idea. And yeah, it just ends up blocking it in. So you got yourself some decent, very good late game scaling here for BLG. And for RA, you have to have the Corki, but it is all about that mid game. That bot lane power spike with the Xin Zhao is going to be huge.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of expected something like the Azir to come out. We saw the Victor last time, this time the Azir. The package, playing with the Dragon is going to be a huge factor. And I think, Q pick the Gragas. I think it's a fine answer into the Gwen. We've seen that time and time before. A good neutralizing pick. That being said, the Gwen is going to be able to scale quite effectively into you. But we've seen, what the Gragas can do, especially with the new build, the Night Harvester into Seraphs, giving you all that ability haste. And I think I am looking at the bot lane. I don't think Ryze and Chris played the 2v2 as well as they could have in that first game. And I think this is a much, much more punishing 2v2 that you're going up against. If Ibon and Yanja smell blood in the water, they will pounce.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they'll definitely look to try and punish. I think Yanja in the last game was actually very good in the first 10 to 15 minutes of the game as well, specifically in the laning phase, was keeping the aggression down, constantly putting pressure down. I will say on top of that, he was on the Rakan, so not as great engage options available to him, but if he can land a handshake, the extra little bit of a passive damage you get as the Renata into something like the Kalista is why it's so powerful as well, because the early damage available to you is actually much larger than you think it is, especially if you can combo it with the Rens. So we'll see how it ends up all going. I will say though, this Gwen is going to get scary. This Gwen Azir combination is huge if the side of BLG can get to the late game.
Yeah, I think the main scary thing is like you have this melee Tahm Kench who has to be the one farming, and it's like the fact that both Kalista and Renata have like allied auto passives. And what I mean by that is if Renata autos a target and then her ally hits the target, it does that bonus damage percentage HP. If Kalista autos the target and her Soulbound autos them, she gets extra damage from her W. So it's like all they have to do is Aibo and Yanji just both auto Crisp and he will get chunked like quite heavily. So it's going to be very difficult for it to step up and contest the wave. And then obviously, like you said, if the handshake comes in, if you connect onto anyone, CC them for a split second, you can just stack up those Rens and easily pick up a kill. So for me, based on the drafts, I feel like I'm leaning towards RA on what they have. But, we've obviously seen game one go a little bit topsy-turvy. There's definitely room for things to sort of go in any direction.
Absolutely. Now, Crisp is by himself. We'll have Icon in tow here to try and maybe make something work, but they're going to jump straight in on top of him. The handshake will bring him back. He may have to lose his flash, but is it worth it this early on? It is not. It's disaster for the side of BLG. That is not the start you want to be giving over to the side of RA.
Absolutely not. Giving the Kalista a kill, level 1. I can't think of many things worse, in all honesty. But good play coming out. I mean, Chris holds the flash because he knows there's nothing that he can do in that situation. If you flash, there's going to flash to follow. And it just means Lian is going to be able to pick up this. No way, no way, no way, no way, no way! Take it, Lian!
Oh my god. Oh my god. He does get it, but he's forced to flash away as Ryze was coming in. Lian got a little bit too casual. Just a little bit too casual. My heart. So much.
I thought Chris was going to steal it with a tongue lash. My heart, Asheen. My heart.
I'm right there with you, bro. I'm right there with you. He does get the steal off, so it will be a little bit of vertical jungling. He does know that Khan is now on his wolves, but yeah, that was That was risky to say the least.
I don't know why. Like, you know, as much as I enjoy watching these teams, it doesn't like if BLG stole it. It wouldn't affect me personally, but I just felt that at such a deep level. I think it would have ruined my day, Sheen. I couldn't take it.
Wow. Ox's entire mental state was relying on that one blue buff potentially being stolen. But thankfully for you, I suppose, that blue buff does go over to the side of RA. We will see.
Very important. It's very, very good that didn't happen.
Very, very important, as we do see Can now seeing if he can make something work in the mid lane. But the wave's already been pushed in, so he's not really in a position to capitalize. And you can see he's kind of playing catch up to try and make sure that he's trying to catch someone out here, but he doesn't quite clear his top side, doesn't quite get anything bot side, so he's actually falling behind on the L's clears at the moment.
Yeah, so I mean that's the unfortunate thing when you're behind now. He's looking like he's trying to steal away the blue in return, but he will be contested on this. But one thing to bear in mind, he has prio mid and top. Leon, no flash. Yeah, you don't want to tango here, Leon.
I think he's dead if he tries to stick around. I don't think he can really contest this blue buff. So with priority in mid and top, it's going to be very difficult. Leon, run, Leon. You're gonna. Ox is already stressed enough. I need you to leave. All right, we have another series to deal with, and I need Ox a prime condition for this. All right.
I think I'm okay with this. Okay, you know he loses his blue. Even if he died, that'd be okay. It was just that one moment that just stressed me out. Losing the blue buff, not being level 2. Oh, anyway, so. Can does some counter jungling himself, manages to match on this side. Actually ends up in a bit of a better position because he's going to be able to pick up the scuttle and then have free rate. You know, he still has 2 comps left up and available. He could actually potentially head towards bot and try and contest that one, but I don't think he will. But yeah, all things considered with how they panned out, I think Khan is pretty happy. It's only the bot lane, the fact that we have iBoy with a kill, that is the issue. That is still problematic. And it's not going to get easier for Ryze and Crisp anytime soon.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing right now is that you have got pressure in this bot side. 30, just over 30 seconds till that dragon spawns. Basically, you're guaranteed to get yourself set up on those dragon stackings. We are going to start to see the reset coming in here. So we will see a pretty significant jump up here in terms of the power spike as well. Full high noon quiver with boots. Pretty much a perfect back here for the side of RA, especially so early on. And this is where the game gets a little bit interesting. Leanne is going for the wolves and will take away the big ones. So this early invades, again, using that priority in bot side to his advantage and rising your blood pressure as well.
Add an insult to injury there, honestly. The fact that BLG, the big wolf dies and then the other one's reset, so he has to do it again.
Yeah, it's a little unfortunate there. And Dragon now live on the field. We can see Leanne trying to help out Strife just to push this one back. Will be able to TP back into the lanes, make sure that he has got pressure there to help out his jungler should they go for an early dragon. And that's what we're expecting to see. We are expecting to see RA lean in towards this dragon, but BLG currently in a position where they might feel like they can go for a contest because they have got people down that bot side of the map.
Something to note though is the cube 8 CS down, had to even burn the TP earlier despite no jungle intervention, so lane going extremely well for Bin. I sort of talked about Gragas being a neutralizer, but looks like so far Bin really having the edge in this matchup. And you can even see he's backed and bought the Leeching Leer, so in a solid spot. And Leanne will take this window to pick up this dragon. So it's, you know, top lane going to favor BLG, mid lane it's expected that the Azir is going to have priority there. But getting this dragon pretty nice, and obviously Ibo and Yanji, it's as expected. This bot lane is just not going to be a fun time, and picking up a play, having that early kill, and having a CS lead, all nice positives.
All nice positives. Dragon goes over as well, so RA stacking those nice and early again. And for BLG, is it just a matter of trying to wane this out, or can you maybe find opportunities elsewhere on the map?
And the big question for me is going to be kind of leaning towards that Herald. If you can get that down, you know, for BLG, if they can find, you know, a big gold lead for Bin, for example, this Gwen could become really problematic, as is a given with most Gwens, but particularly Bin has sort of had a proficiency in the champion. We're still getting this constant counter jungling, by the way. It feels like a pretty much non-stop, where it's like, instead of having like 2 sides to a jungle, it's like intervening and people, you know, picking up different sides of it. Like, oh, Bin in trouble maybe.
A little bit of trouble. He will take some turret shots, but it's a nice opportunity there from Cube. We will get rid of the immunity there from Bin and try and just keep this wave at an even state. I think he was afraid that he was going to get dove perhaps by the combination of the Wukong Gwen, which may have had lethal on top of him. He doesn't have any resistance really at all at the moment, so Not to be, but does get a decent trade, keep himself nice and up in that lane. But again, Bin still very much ahead. Uyanja now needs to be very careful. We will see the handshake come out, but there's going to be the Desolate Dive coming out. They're not quite able to land the root. And unfortunately for BLG, they try to find something, to try and make something work, but it doesn't quite stick.
Yeah, the reward will be the Scuttle, which is, I mean, something, I guess, but not exactly like the biggest thing you're going to get out of it. Didn't bin any sums in that situation. And now, iBoy has access to that ultimate, so it becomes a lot harder to punish the Renata whenever that Kalista is nearby. Also has the potential to throw her in, but this is one of the strengths of this bot lane is 2v2 the Kalista Renata, the fact that it's so hard to dive a Renata because she has that ultimate. Because she has like so many tools like the bailout she can use on the Kalista, but then you also have the safety net that the Kalista offers, the kiting that the Kalista has as well. It just means that, like, you know, even if Bin does get close to the backline, there's a lot of responses from this bot lane 2v2 that we've seen have such high priority in terms of mitigating that. The same when Khan is trying to look for things on the Wukong. Yeah,
now we're starting to see level 6s being hit across the board. We will see level 6 coming out here for Uyanja very shortly, as well as the BLG bot lane, so they should have the extra safety. They shouldn't really be getting any hostile takeovers taken themselves, but with the priority bot lane, it does mean that RA have to secede the priority in top. That being said, though, they're not actually willing to let this one go without a fight, so Khan is sitting around this mid lane, but he's going to go over the wall, you'd imagine, with a decoy if he wants to, and then try and make something work, but not quite able to go for it just yet. Strive still sitting in base because RA have said, look, we're going to throw our bot lane up towards this Herald. We're not willing to give up these objectives because we know we're stronger.
Yeah, and I think the fact that both Ivor and Yanja here, BLG can't contest, and I feel like any time the team with a Corki is getting the early objectives, it feels so bad because these are the pre-packaged objectives. The fact that you're losing out on these when you know already post 10 minutes, like next Dragon, Strive's going to have a package, it's going to make that a lot harder. It just really makes it difficult for BLG from this position. And, you know, we talked about earlier, the Azir, the Gwen, the Senna, these champions do scale fantastically. But, you know, we saw how much pressure the Corki applied when he was able to get the Infernal Soul last game. Given that freedom over, definitely rough. And the problem is as well, BLG didn't get anything on the other side of the map, right? Chris was the one standing lane. He doesn't even get a single plate. You're missing out on souls and Senna and experience because Senna walked up. It's just not ideal for BLG in that position.
No, it really is not. Now with the Dragon up in a minute and a half, you can see the resets coming in here for the Kalista, almost towards that Immortal Shield boat, not quite there just yet. Yuyan just sitting around this Dragon pit to make sure that Rise and the rest of BLG don't get any footholds, as now both top laners going to start to see themselves getting up to some decent items. Actually going to be the Dark Harvest coming out here for Cube, so still building up towards being a very significant damage dealer. I will say for the Gragas, it is all burst damage, but if he lands it onto the right target and separates with the explosive cast, that could be a massive difference in these team fights.
I think one thing as well with this new build that's come out is like the ability haste you get is insane. Like the reason people have let on Night Harvester is because you get 25 ability haste from the item itself, I believe, after its buff. You get 5 ability haste from the mythic passive for each item. And then obviously Seraph's, the new percentage mana, is ability haste. So like your body slam is such a short cooldown because it's reduced by 3 seconds if you hit a target. You look at BLG having 3 melee champions. Anytime they try and step up on your backline, just belly boop, walk away, belly boop, walk away, and you could do that on repeat. It's really frustrating to play against. Oh, man.
Lien is going to get jumping straight back in on top of Icon. There's going to be the Dawning Shadow. The package comes out to try and stop Khan from jumping on the jungler, but Lien can't keep himself safe, and that's going to be the kill over the side of BLG. Great opportunistic pick right before the Dragon. That means that BLG might be able to stop the stacks early.
That was really nice. I mean, the thing is, we talked about the issue with the package, the fact that if they group up, RA could be able to just muscle their way on in this, but because BLG find that pick, find that window, no longer really a possibility.
Well, you can see now, RA not willing to let this one go over for free. It wouldn't really be a 50-50 as you do have access to the Smite. Stripe does not have access to his package. They're trying to make something work, but it's just not really worth it, and the Smite should be able to come out. Actually, there was no Smite, funny enough, but they did not know that, so ends up being secured there by BLG, and that's just, again, good play coming out here. I will say Uyanja, if you can find a handshake, will be feeling pretty good about himself, but nice kiting there of the range here from Rise. Make sure they're not able to get on top of them as they're running back to lane.
Yeah, playing pretty aggro there. Ivor and Yanja, now obviously the ultimate down. Oh, we do see Herald getting thrown down mid. I like this, honestly. You're in Trader Azir, cracking that mid lane tier 1 can really help out, and should just be able to pick up 2 plates for both the Corki and the Xin Zhao heal. Here, if you get the second Herald, that's going to lead to that tier 1 going down. Often when you're up against the likes of an Azir, very hard to take down the mid tier 1 as he's just like a brick wall in the mid lane. Even when they rotate the bot up center Tom, not exactly the easiest. And here, Leanne, like, you're not paired up with your team. You should know the bot lane are coming. And kind of just gives this window for Icon to look for this. I think as well, he holds the flash for such a long time. In fact, sorry, I think he used it before. Yeah,
he used it to get over the Azir wall to try and run away.
Right. Okay, I mean,
still not ideal.
Just messy.
Yeah, still not ideal. Riftmaker now being picked up. Actually, first Mythics being picked up across the board here for BLG. The Riftmaker for Bin. You've got the Divine Sunderer for Khan. And, of course, the Leandry's Torment here for Icon. So, you're going to be... Leandry's Anguish, excuse me. I'm calling it by its old name, but... You now have the Emerald Shieldbow here for the side of RA. The only unfortunate thing is, if you were on 2 dragons... Yes, it's a Cloud Soul, but that Cloud Soul is still very significant for something like, a Xin Zhao and, of course, the Renata as well. Being able to kind of put those ultimates down and then reset yourself around the map is important. You're not quite there yet, and you're at least another, 13 and a half minutes until that becomes relevant. So we won't be seeing a Cloud Soul until at least 27 minutes if RA or BLG are able to kind of stack up those objectives in this. Gwen is getting really difficult to deal with. You can see Cube... Now with the Riftmaker being finished up onto the Gwen, it's having to kind of think about these trades. Yes, he's kind of mitigating it, but he's not thriving. He's not doing exceptionally well. He's just about surviving.
And that's the thing. I'm a bit concerned now for RA. You didn't get a second dragon. It's a Cloud Soul, which honestly I feel like a Cloud Soul's better for BLG than RA. Like getting those melee champions like the Gwen, the Wukong into range. Whereas like Kalista doesn't really benefit from a Cloud Soul. And then on top of that, this top lane is becoming a problem. Like Bin is just scaling up for free, is actually having an advantage in the lane. And we've seen, I mean, everyone, it's not even just it's not even just the LPL viewers, everyone globally after MSI has seen what Bin can do on this champion.
Yeah, I mean, we think about Bin in MSI, of course, the MSI champion with RNG. It was just pick Gwen or ban Gwen. That's how they ended up going with it. But we will see them now go for a little bit of an engage here. As Khan just get himself out with the decoy. It was a little bit of an evade here from BLG. They are a little bit behind on gold, about 500 or 600 gold. Nothing too massive as of yet. As both teams now trying to reset up towards this Rift Herald. 30 seconds till that spawns. And now RA, they're trying to see if they can defend their top side. But this is the Gwen. Bin coming in here. I don't know if they can actually really do much about this.
Yeah, Corki's still not really relevant at this point. Bin, it's very scary even this early for a Gwen. And, I feel like RA are starting to lose their grasp on the game a little bit. Bot's still in a good spot, but we can see Khan looking for Leanne here.
Oh, the Crescent Guard comes out. They're going to try and jump onto Bin to try and maybe get some to get away. But Leanne can't get away here. And they're going to have the Emperor's Divide come out. And that's 2 more kills. We talked about how much this top lane was running away for them. It's now got 2 extra kills to help with that running.
Yeah, giving Bin those kills, really not what you want. And now Herald going to be secured by the side of BLG. It's the fact that Cube casked Icon behind him to give him the shuffle over. The one saving grace is we are going to see Strive be able to pick up this mid-tier 1. Kind of what RA wanted after that first Herald was placed down. So the fact that they lose out in the second Herald isn't as big. But still, the 2 kills to the Gwen, an absolute disaster right now for RA and their win cons.
Yeah, they will be able to win off at mid and in bot, so they should be able to pick themselves up 2 towers for now. So in all, it should be an equal trade in terms of gold. But yeah, this is just... It's Gromp, lads. Come on. You don't need to be sitting there waiting for it. And it just... No flash on Leanne means that this is just so much easier for... And like you said, these loads of gas to just shuffle the Gragas back in.
And I honestly feel like... Leanne looks really uncomfortable in the Xin Zhao. He looks like he keeps getting caught out, thinking he's stronger than he is. And you gotta remember, Xin Zhao can go in. That is his thing. He goes in, he does not go out again. It's like he can dash onto a target, he can't dash away. It's not like a Lee Sin or a Wukong or even a Viego. Like, at least Viego has his stealth and has his W, like a little dash away. Whereas Xin Zhao does not have those tools. And Leanne's second time in a row, he has just been caught out and taken off the map. And now BLG posturing for that 3rd dragging off the game. We do see Strive reset. Looks like he's grabbing the package. No TP, so it gives impression they want to contest, but Bin is walking down. And my opinion is that RA should just not interact with Bin, but it looks like they're going to give it a go.
I mean, they're going to try and contest this dragon, but the dragon's already gone, so not really an ideal situation here for the side of RA. They get back with Strife, and him going with the Ravenous Hydra as a second item means he's going for more wave clear rather than that initial burst. It's still nice, but it's not going to be the game changer or the 2 item spike we know and love.
I mean, I feel like Luden's even gives more wave clear because of the proc.
Yeah,
It's
true.
kind of a weird one, especially because like something, you know, the AD ratios from Corki take longer to come online. He obviously is past level 11, but it's like level 16 is normally when you get the big boost to your AD ratio. So interesting. I haven't really seen this. I've always seen the Ludens come out first. It's like the second item, and now yeah, TP coming in. This is Icon coming in.
Icon is coming in. Lian is there, though. It would have been a 2v2 between the mid jungles, but the side of RA backed themselves away. The tower does not go down. I like the idea from BLG. I think the fact that they're looking for these plays is always nice, especially considering they are waiting to kind of scale infinitely into late game. I will say, though, those rockets are starting to hurt, and you will have to start to be very wary, as we saw in the last game, that this Corki can and will just take over.
Yeah, it does eventually become a monster. That is a bit of a given later in the game. Obviously, she's nearly got that mana immune stacked, which is a pretty big spike regardless. But still, BLG have 2 dragons. They have a lot of comfort room. They have a lot of space. One thing to note, though, is Rise once again falling behind in terms of experience. He's been moving away from the waves quite a bit. You can see now, like, for example, Crisp is mid on the wave. Rise is nowhere near. So this center is going to, once again, fall behind in terms of experience. And we saw that be a big issue in game 1.
Yeah, 4 levels already between the AD carry of BLG. Of course, it's a little bit skewed. Of course, the Senna does end up being a fasting Senna, so it doesn't pick up as much CS or, as you said, experience whatsoever. But it's not as significant when you look at, oh, you know, the Yuyanja doesn't have it. It's like, yeah, but Yuyanja's not building himself as a carry, as iBoy fighting over this Scuttlebug right now, and thankfully for the side of RA, BLG Bin does not decide to go for it, but they're going to look for a fight here in the mid lane. There's going to be the Fates Call coming out. The handshake is not going to land. They get the flash out of Rise, but they invested quite a lot. Now, Bin looking to try and fully engage here. The flash away by Cube as the needlework is doing work. He doesn't quite have anything to work with this. And there's the Dawning Shadow off the back of this. Bin trying to run away now with the Ghost already popped. He is so damn fast alongside that Cloud Rift.
Yeah, honestly, if he gets over the base wall or he's TPing out, will Lian find him?
Yeah.
Does find him.
Oh, there we go. They do end up getting the shutdown there. So not the worst in the world there, but RA, it was a little bit scary. And you can see already this top lane just cannot continue to be as it is.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they got that shutdown, that he got that kill, they can dive the Gragas under tower is pretty rough. That is a damning position to be in. Now, I think Bane kind of misplayed. I think he could have dashed over the base wall and then just gone for the execute. But regardless, tries to make it out scot-free. But now BLG, they get the Herald down mid, chunk that tower out. They get that tower in the bot lane as well. It's really starting to become a pretty significant problem. We can see the replay here. So essentially what happens is Cube just gets run down. Like Bin just feels confident to go for it. And importantly enough, because Cube body slams away, he doesn't get the reduced cooldown, and so Bin just feels confident to dive. The fact that Bin can just run down your Gragas like this, it feels so hard to deal with. And yeah, this is a point. I think if he just used his dash over the wall, kept running, he probably could have gotten execute there.
Yeah, possibly gotten an execute, but shoulda, woulda, coulda are always the answers we have out of this one. And yes, you might be looking at this and go, but RA have a gold lead. RA are able to kind of, you know, stack the dragons, or maybe with a Calista take
have a
the
Gwen.
Baron. That's what I was about to say. BLG have a Gwen, and it's like that Avengers quote. It's just like, you know, I have an army. It's like, well, we have a Hulk. It's kind of the same thing, where you're looking at it as a point of view of like, this Gwen could, in a 5v5, if they're able to find backline access, just take out the Renata, take out the Calista. And I think I'm going to be taking some serious microscopes onto the bailout right now from the side of RA, because I think if Yuyanja can get the right bailout at the right time, and then they can kill off the pushing in Gwen, that's where the fight could turn around. But that's a very big if for the side of RA.
Yeah, big condition, kind of setting it up. I also think it depends how well Bin uses his W, that Shroud, to kind of mitigate some of the pressure coming in. Like, if you can use that to avoid the hostile takeover. But regardless, kind of see the team is posturing for the Dragon. Right now, Icon's pressuring here, as he's the one with TP. And we get the Corki reset from Strive to go and pick up the package with 20 seconds to go on the objective. We'll see. I mean, BLG are never pressured to take these fights. Well, not anytime soon, just because they have those 2 dragons initially in pocket. We'll see what they opt to do in this situation. Icon is resetting now. Or is he? Looks like he's hanging around for the time being.
Yeah, looks like they're kind of just keeping him up there for the moment. He can push in that wave and maybe go for a TP into the flank. Again, he already has his Banshees already on the second item, so he's not really in a pressure point to try and make this one. iBoy and Lian now in the back of the pit here, as iBoy just kind of leaves him to it. No one's jumping on Lian just yet, but they will get the third proc there onto Khan, who pops out. The Cyclone is going to be secure, but it's out of BLG and get themselves on the soul point. The hostile takeover doesn't really do a lot in RA. This game is running away from you. You don't really have the answers, and you're starting to lose all the questions as well.
Yeah, I mean, package not even used in that situation. It just feels rough. It feels like now RA might look towards the Baron.
I mean, they have to try something. I think they genuinely have to try something. They're going to go for it. You do have a Rend, and you still do have a package. So this is going to be a full committal here, because look at Bin. Bin was on the bot side with no TP.
Gone, by the way.
Package is gone, but oh! The smite comes out just there for Khan as Strive trying to be a little bit of a nuisance again. They don't have the Gwen. It's a 4v5 in favor of RA.
Has no smite either.
They have no smite just yet. They're going to try and go for this one here. It's going to be the smite with the Rens. That was a really good opportunistic play, but Icon jumps straight into the back of the pit. The explosive cast to try and help Leyen as he jumps onto Rise. The heal comes out, but what Barons can you get out? You still have a tower in this top side, and that could be the difference maker here. They're trying to cut off the minion wave, but BLG not willing to let them just go for this one here. Icon gets caught out. He flashes over the wall. They're a little bit separated here as BLG. No flash for Icon means he cannot flash Emperor's Divide. They will lose one member. They will get the rest of the Barons out. RA with a good call to make sure they don't let this game run away.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of feel like the game is slipping out of control, so they make a very rash decision, and it ends up paying off. Strive, in particular, doing a fantastic job of chunking out Khan and not letting him get close on the objective. As a result, they're able to secure it, and clearly just seeing the fact that Khan's smite to secure the dragon didn't have that available meant they could turn onto it. And now it's given them some much needed power, right? They're going to get that extra gold, get the extra experience. You can see iBoy 3 levels up on Rise right now. So that Senna, once again, not really super relevant. I'm still concerned about the Gwen. I think that goes without saying. But RA have an opportunity here to expand their lead if they can take some towers.
Yeah, towers, get the map opened up for yourself, put some pressure down. That is the big thing here. You have got nearly 3 items onto your mid laner and, of course, onto the Callista as well. So, Wit's End coming in very, very soon. You, of course, are looking towards that Luden's Echo. So, it's a little bit delayed, but we are going to have a massive Corki coming into the later stages. He's level 15 as well, so those rockets almost hitting that big 16 spike that we talked about, the 75% of your AD alongside the 150%. Leyen actually has to use his Crescent Guard, 2-man knockup. It's a bounce house, but is it enough damage? That's the question. They're going to try and get the Cyclone here to continue it on as Bing goes in. He's trying to get on top of Leyen. Not quite able to get the damage just yet. They turn back on top of him, but not quite able to do anything. A lot was used there from both sides. It ends up being just RA losing their jungler.
Yeah, now, I mean, you look at the top right of the screen, Baron power play already going in favor of RA, and with jungler down, it just really limits the ability to push up and try and take these structures. There's only 2 towers taken so far for RA, and I'm not sure how much they'll be able to get. There's only 50 seconds left of the Baron.
Now, but again, the only real easy quote-unquote tower to take is that top outer, and you can see Strive making his way towards it at the moment, but it's not really going to be that easy with the likes of a Gwen and a Wukong there to kind of clear out the wave. So he's just going to leave it off. Only 30 seconds left on that Baron. Probably use it as a reset more so than anything else. And actually, no, he needs to use it to get into mid lane because it's under pressure.
Yeah, should just be able to defend that one there, though. And, you know, we've now gone into that situation where, in fact, RA came out of the Baron with a 2k gold lead. Now we have a 1k gold lead.
Yeah,
Dragon's up in a minute 30. We are getting a big spike for Strive coming in. He's just picked up that Luden's. You know, there is that element. The Corki can land a good poke. If Corki can hit level 16 before the next dragon, adds a lot of power. But even if RA get the dragon, they're still so far away from Soul. And I don't think the Cloud Soul does enough for them to really, like, solidify this game in their favor. Finn is monstrously strong right now, and I just don't feel like they have the ability to deal with him. They just don't have the DPS.
I mean, you got to hope for a big mistake. And look, I'll be totally honest, between these two teams, there could be a lot of them. So can't count them out just yet, but we'll see what they're able to kind of work with. A minute till Dragon spawns. We have still yet to see Strife go back for that package. He doesn't have TP available just yet either. So still waiting for that particular cooldown to help him out with this particular fight. As the RA to start to move themselves forward. I will say for BLG, they've done exceptionally well at just focusing out Leyen. Like you said, he looks very uncomfortable on this Xin Zhao. This Khan just tries to poke out, and there's some decent poke coming out onto Rise.
Yeah.
It's still significant, but like you said, it's going to take a couple big ones for them to really be making a dent in this lineup.
This is kind of the adaptation of Corki since they changed the timers on package. Is you posture, you land the poke now, and then you reset, grab the package, and that's when you have
we go.
it resets your ammo as well.
They're going to look to try and get on top of Rise, but he immediately gets pushed backwards. They're going to have the handshake there onto Crisp, and he gets taken out. Good pick here, but Khan's already got Bin coming in with Icon. Icon trying to find the shuffle, and he'll get it. The hostile takeover does nothing, but Icon now caught between a rock and a hard place, and he's been shut down.
There's
Flash
Bin.
over by Leyen. Bin, though, looking to bring Leyen back into the trash can. You can't dash over the wall. He just face plants into it, and with 2 for 1, it's still in favor of RA.
Yeah, still in favor quite significantly. Strive now level 16, humongous spike for him. Looks like he's not backing for the package, trying to have a better timer going forwards. Khan is in the wings though. Leyen is there with Smite, and it looks like BLG won't contest. So RA get the fight, they get the dragon, but they don't really get much more, and it's still just second dragon for them.
Second dragon, they do get 2 kills in favor of 1, but let's have a look at the replay here, because again, it's RA knowing they have to fight them when they're not 5v5.
Yeah, and I just love the fact that they use Yan just to engage Jewel, tries to find Rise, but doesn't manage to be able to connect. And honestly, Tahm Kench the better target as he can't gobble himself. Big shuffle comes in that's dodged away from Highboy, and then Cube comes in and just completely deletes Icon. The ult nearly killing Khan as well, but just not quite enough damage.
Yeah, and that could have been big. If you get Khan as well, that's 3 kills. You may be able to kind of, you know, turn that into a tower or 2 as well because of the timing. But it was only the 2 kills going over in favor of RA in terms of the 1 for BLG. And again, when Bin goes in, if Bin's not able to get that first initial, why does Strife have package? I'm not quite sure about that. He could have just left it and waited, but nevertheless,
Yeah,
he's not going to have it now for the next timing. That's a little bit of a weird one.
I guess they have to start Baron and like look for a fight, start Baron immediately. That might be the play here. Very weird though. It doesn't mean it's now desynced with the dragon, which is quite a big. Oh my lord, that damage.
That is absurd right now. Strife recognizing they're at this power point. This is it. This is your game right now for the side of RA. You can take a 2-0, but you have to do it now. Oh, we're going to see a package coming out. Crisp goes over on top of the package, and he's still a Tahm Kench, so he's still very, very tanky. Rise getting hit by the little ones is still getting peppered down. Bin TP'd in. The Baron down to about 3,000. They're going to commit to it. Leyen with the smite. Boy with the rend, and they confirm it. That's a fantastic cast there, but it's only onto the dummy as Khan gets himself right into the backside of this one. The Devourer comes out as they try and keep their Wukong alive. The Shurima shuffle onto 3 as Bin finally finds his opportunity. Icon goes golden, but he will end up falling. You've traded out the Callista for the Gwen and now the Azir, so we'll see now what they're able to try and push into this one here. Yanja gets back out onto the top of this. Crisp not quite able to get the tongue lash down. It's a 2 for 1. Ooh, as Khan nearly gets himself there as well, as RA do get the Baron again, and they get themselves out with a couple of Baron buffs.
They get the advantage, but not by much. And I mean, this is a problem. This Gwen joining the fight late. Bin, such a monster, but Icon, the real hero there with that shuffle. And we can see, you know, the confidence on this play. They have the package, they have the Rend plus Smite to make it very hard to contest this objective. And BLG are very cautious to approach this one, especially with Rise so chunked out. And we'll see. I think they executed from like a pretty high level of HP. Yeah, 2.4k they executed from there.
Oh my god, I didn't even see that. The handshake caught the dummy and I got so baited.
Yeah, unfortunately. And then they actually save the jungle here, and then Icon goes for this massive shuffle. The thing is, RA could have backed out, but they're still hunting for the fight. And then the Gwen is a problem. Boy gets CC'd and just annihilated. No real response to this, I'm just going to say, this broken champion.
Yeah, it really was. And I think the combination of the Wukong and the Gwen is just proving so much. I will say you did have to use a lot there from the side of BLG. The TPs are down from your top laner. You don't have access to that now for this next potential fight. Flash used by Icon and by Khan as well. And this is why the big thing is, I think if BLG can finally find the fight where the decoy is just like that, baits me as well. I thought it was a handshake into a fantastic explosive cast, but it wasn't. It was all just a big ruse. And now Leyen feeling a little bit better now with the force of nature. Should be able to...
Oh my lord.
Ooh.
Yeah,
that's level 18
for Strive. And bear in mind, you know, you get MR per level with the durability patches. That was one of the things they added quite a bit of MR per level. Just being low level, like you have less health, less MR. It's going to do more. Strive level 18 now. The 2 Barons help them with that. But bear in mind, one thing to note for RA is they desync the package from the Dragon. Dragon in a minute 20, they won't have that package available for it. So I have to make up some ground as a result.
Well, they are taking turrets this time around with their Baron buff. As we can see now, Yuyanja getting caught out as Khan kind of jumping on top of him. The bailout will be there, but it will not be enough. That's going to be a kill going over to the side of BLG, but a tower has been taken on top side. Cube is at a point where his damage is super significant to be able to kill the minions, but should Bin feel like he can go 1v1 in that bot side, like he's, like what is that, 70 CS? It's a massive advantage, let alone the kills.
Yeah, I mean, Gwen, it's just a matter of the fact is the Gragas has enough wave clear, so you're fine with that, but is problematic if you're trying to get into a fight. Now, Yan just caught off warding and didn't have the Kalista nearby to be able to ult. It won't be that impactful, but we've had RA take 2 Barons, and they have 4 towers. Really not doing many favors for themselves. Now, TP comes in early. RA know they don't have package. They want to get a setup as soon as possible on the objective.
Yeah, they need to try and muscle their way in. Look at Khan, though. Look at Khan on the flank on your minimap. He's all the way down there. Thank you so much, observers. I know you're not listening to me, but it does not matter. There's RA trying to see where they can find him. They know where 4 members of BLG are, but they do not know where the Wukong is.
He's got to look for iBoy.
He's got to look for iBoy. Yanja, though, maybe you're going to be able to find him here, and they're going to know that he's there. Yep, they're going to jump onto the Renata. The handshake is good to try and dissuade from him. And then, look, you don't have your jungler here for BLG, which means that iBoy, he's a little bit separated from the rest of his team. They're putting down a lot of damage. Those are great. Massive hostile takeover as now Khan has to flash himself away, gets himself off with a decoy. Icon still doing damage as Bin jumps on the iBoy. They flash over, he flashes back on top of him. iBoy goes into stasis, but it's only a matter of time, you feel, before he goes down. The bailout is there, and actually it's RA turning it around. They're keeping themselves alive. They've got the stasis and they got the GA. They flash forward onto Icon, who goes golden. Double kill comes in though for Bin, and now Icon makes something work as he picks up the 3rd. Now the rest of RA can run away and try and keep themselves alive. Not quite able to do it. It looked like for a moment BLG may have stepped too far forward, but they pick up 4, and now Yuyanja's caught all alone in the world and nowhere to go.
And Icon, massive in that fight, did so much damage when he's here finding those pivotal targets. BLG, I think they just look for the end here. Such a long game, but it feels like it's not even that, it hasn't even been that long compared to game 1. But BLG will find the advantage to be able to close this one out. The Gwen, the Azir, just too much for RA.
Scaling, and when in doubt, more scaling. We can see now Icon going in onto Yuyanja, just trying to take him out. The bailout is there. Icon will tank up the turret alongside Bin, but that's going to be the ace, and you got to feel like that's going to be the game, sending us to a game 3 in this best of 3 as BLG and RA, neither team willing to let it go.
And man, I feel like Leon was such a pivotal piece in that game 1, but game 2 really flopped. Wasn't able to find any advantages, constantly getting picked. His ins out just didn't look comfortable for him. And BLG, it wasn't a straightforward game, but man, Icon had such an Azir performance there. I feel like in that there was a massive shuffle around the Baron. There was a final fight where he's clearing up the kills. He was that big carry for them.
Yeah.